Ever walked into like a really buzzing coffee shop and thought, I wonder, could I run this place?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like you've been bitten by the coffee bug in a good way, right?
Yeah.
You've sent us this whole stack of info from RoleCatcher all about becoming a Beverages Shop Manager, and we're here to like really break it down.
Yeah. Let's dive in.
We're talking career guides, those interview tips, even how their AI coaching thing works, the whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
Get ready to go way beyond the latte art because we're going deep on what this career path is really all about.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was looking at all this, it's clearly so much more than just, brewing a good cup of coffee, right?
Yay.
It's this really dynamic mix of like business strategy, customer service, and you need that real passion for, that perfect drink.
Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break down what a Beverages Shop Manager like actually does day to day.
Right.
RoleCatcher's career guide lays it all out, and honestly, it's surprisingly nuanced.
Yeah, it's a lot more than people think. It's not just about knowing, like, your espresso from your Americano.
Right, exactly.
You're responsible for the entire shop and how it performs, how the staff are doing, managing that inventory, all while making sure every customer has, a really great experience.
It's that customer experience that's key. Like the guide actually says they're responsible for, quote, activities and staff, end quote, which on the surface sounds, pretty standard, right? But then they get into things like visual merchandising, which is basically how the shop looks to customers. They're creating a whole vibe.
The whole aesthetic.
Yes. Then there's trend spotting, like, are those matcha lattes still cool? Or is there like some new drink taking over Instagram?
Right.
And then don't even get me started on supplier relations.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole other world of like negotiations and partnerships. It's way more than just making sure the coffee beans are stocked.
Oh, absolutely. A beverages shop manager, they're like the conductor of this whole orchestra, bringing all those different elements together to create something harmonious.
I love that analogy.
And profitable. Let's not forget that part. They're managing a real live business, not just a fancy coffee machine.
That's such a good point. So speaking of managing, what kind of skills do you actually need to juggle all that? Because I was honestly blown away by just like the range of skills that RoleCatcher listed. I mean, obviously you need strong customer service skills. That's a given.
Of course.
But did you know those math skills, the ones we all thought we'd leave behind in high school, they're essential here.
It's true. That's where things get really interesting. You need that business sense to like analyze the sales data to make sure you're pricing things to actually make a profit. And don't forget, managing that inventory efficiently, those spreadsheets and profit margins, they don't balance themselves.
No, they don't. And they even go deeper into these core abilities. And it really is kind of a wild mix. It's like you need to be part salesperson, part like therapist, part math whiz.
It's true.
Negotiation skills are just as important as being able to read people.
Yeah.
One minute you're haggling with a supplier over like the price of coffee beans.
Right.
And the next you're dealing with a customer who's like having a meltdown over their latte art.
And you got to be able to listen, really listen to both of them. It's so crucial.
Yeah.
It's more than just, hearing a customer's order. It's about really understanding what they like, what they might need, even like suggesting something totally new based on their usual.
Oh, I love when they do that.
Right. That's how you take someone who's just there for a quick coffee and turn them into a regular, which is like gold in this business.
Gold. Okay, so we've like established this isn't your average retail gig. Right?
Absolutely not.
You're not just serving up drinks, you're serving up like success for yourself and for the business.
Okay.
Speaking of which, let's talk like career trajectory for a sec.
Okay.
RoleCatcher actually gives you a bit of a roadmap, right?
They do. It's actually one of the things I found really interesting. You can really see how this role can like grow and change over time.
Yeah.
They break it down into these clear stages, and it shows you, that typical path from like entry level all the way up to senior management.
Exactly. So you might start as a shop assistant, which I gotta say, when I hear that, it makes me think, okay, you're the one fetching coffee.
Yeah.
But the guide makes it clear it's about way more than that.
Oh, yeah. So much more. At that stage, it's about like soaking up everything, learning every single thing on that menu, how to use all the equipment, but also like really seeing how the shop works, how they handle customers, how the manager interacts with suppliers, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's about building a super solid foundation.
So it's like you're getting a crash course in everything beverages, but also in like how to actually run a business, which is huge.
Yeah.
And I thought this was really cool. They actually have a profile of a real shop assistant.
Yeah. Interesting.
Someone who, they said maybe had a high school diploma, a little customer service experience, but was like really eager to learn and grow. So it's not just some like made up ideal,
Yeah.
It feels very like attainable.
Totally. And as you start proving yourself, then you might move up to like assistant manager.
Okay.
And that's where you get a lot more responsibility, training new hires, keeping an eye on inventory, maybe even opening or closing the shop.
Oh, wow. That's a lot more.
It is.
And suddenly those math skills we were talking about, they're not just theoretical anymore.
Right.
You're actually tracking inventory, making sure things are running smoothly. You're not just making the coffee, you're like managing the whole system.
Exactly. And a lot of folks at this level, the guide was saying, they might have gotten some extra education, maybe a business management diploma, or like special courses in hospitality.
Oh, interesting.
They're really showing, hey, this is my path, I'm invested.
Yeah, like leveling up. You're gaining the experience, the responsibility. You're showing you're serious about this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then eventually you reach the the holy grail, the shop manager position.
There you go. Now you're calling the shots.
Right. You're setting sales targets for the whole team, managing the actual budget, even working directly with suppliers, building those relationships.
And you're thinking big picture, what's happening in the market, what are people into, planning those special promotions to get people excited.
You're basically like the CEO of coffee at that point.
Pretty much.
Making sure the whole thing is running like a well-oiled, caffeinated machine. Customers are happy. The business is making money. It's all working.
What a great feeling.
And then, of course, at the very, very top, you've got the senior shop manager.
Right. And this is where like long-term vision comes in.
Yeah.
You're mentoring those other managers. You're coming up with strategies for, how do we actually grow this thing? Maybe even representing the brand at those big industry events. You've made it.
That's amazing.
You're a leader now.
It's so cool to see how you can go from, basically making lattes to being this like industry powerhouse.
That's pretty cool.
But here's what really stuck with me reading through all this. It's not just about the skills or the years you put in.
Right.
RoleCatcher really highlights how crucial passion is in this whole world.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to really genuinely love everything about beverages, be excited to see what's new, to try new things, and share that excitement, not just with your team, but with the customers too.
Yeah.
It's that passion that really makes a shop stand out from the crowd.
It's that energy, that love for what you do that can really like make or break the whole experience.
Totally.
Okay, so we've covered the what, the how. Now let's talk about the why. Why choose this career over everything else? What are the perks? And maybe more importantly, what are the potential downsides here?
Well, one of the things they highlight as a major plus is the flexibility, that creative freedom you get. You actually have the power to create the atmosphere at your shop, experiment with drinks and flavors, maybe even start a trend in your area.
That's got to feel good.
It does.
To see people loving something you literally created.
Yeah.
But let's be real, there are some downsides too, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Definitely. And the guide's really upfront about that, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Long hours, weird hours. For sure you're going to be working early mornings, late nights, weekends, the whole thing. You got to be okay with that.
Yeah. That's not for everyone.
It's not.
Yeah.
And honestly, dealing with customers all day, every day, it can be really demanding, even truly stressful.
Yeah.
No matter how much you love coffee.
Yeah, that's fair.
People can be a lot.
Okay, so maybe not the best fit for the introverts who really hate mornings.
Probably not.
But for someone who thrives in that fast-paced environment, loves the energy of a busy shop, and is, like you said, genuinely passionate about this whole world of beverages, it could be amazing.
It could.
Now, let's say someone's listening and they're like, this is it, this is my dream. What's the next step? How do you actually land one of these jobs?
Yeah.
And this is where I think RoleCatcher really shines with that whole interview prep section they have. It's like they've thought of everything you might need to know, to really ace that interview.
Totally. They even have this whole section, common interview questions.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It's everything from the really practical stuff, like how would you handle it if everyone came in for coffee at once during peak hours?
Oh, good question.
To those behavioral questions, like tell me about a time you had to deal with a customer who was being really difficult.
Ooh, yeah, those are always tricky.
Right. So it's all about showing them you can handle the pressure, that you can think on your feet.
Right. No pun intended with the coffee theme and all.
Right.
But it's not even just about having the right answers, is it? RoleCatcher takes it a step further with this AI coaching tool they have.
That's what I thought was super cool. It's like having your own like career coach in your back pocket, you know.
That's amazing.
You can actually practice your answers to these questions,
Wow.
and the AI will give you feedback, like how you're delivering the answers, the content itself,
No way.
even like your body language, which is so
Oh
important.
my gosh, yeah, it's true. It's like a dress rehearsal for your dream job interview, but with a robot.
Exactly. So you don't just feel prepared, you feel confident,
Right.
which is huge.
Totally.
You know, you walk in there ready to wow them.
Yes. Okay, so they've really, thought of everything.
They really have.
But you know what? There was something the guide touched on that I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It's something to think about, I guess, as someone's starting out on this career path.
Okay.
We've been talking about, that traditional coffee shop experience, right? The smell of the coffee, that friendly barista, the whole vibe.
Yeah, totally.
But the guide mentions this big shift that's happening with e-commerce.
Oh, right.
Online ordering, all those delivery apps, even virtual coffee communities. It's a whole new world.
It is.
And I imagine it comes with a whole other set of challenges for a Beverages Shop Manager.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It will managing online orders become just as important as managing the actual physical shop.
Oh, that's a good question.
Optimizing delivery logistics, running social media promotions.
Oh my gosh, social media, that's a whole other thing.
It is. It's like you need to be a master of both worlds,
Yeah.
the real world and the online world.
It's true.
Imagine 1 minute you're analyzing website traffic,
Yeah.
and then the next you're showing a barista how to do a swan with the latte art.
The range, it's a lot.
It is. It's a really interesting evolution of the whole role.
It is.
And the guy doesn't get into a ton of detail on this yet, but it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's like a final shot of espresso, you know?
Right.
A little jolt to get you thinking. So for everyone out there who's like, all right, I'm ready to dive into this world, beverage shop management, here I come. My advice would be embrace both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
The traditional and the digital. Stay curious, keep learning about new trends.
Yes.
And most importantly, let your love for this whole world of beverages, be your guide. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into, deep dive?
It's been fun.